All right, so you're a big RiffTrax fan. You love watching the movies. You've got a collection of DVDs. You've got a collection of RiffTrax files, and you love watching them, but you want it to be just a little bit easier. I mean, the phone app does great at syncing the audio to a DVD, but you have to have the app downloaded on your phone. You have to have two different devices, and sometimes you just want to be able to pull up something off of your media server or pop a file in, whatever, and just watch it. So this is going to be a quick little tutorial on how I was able to do this using completely free software. And it's really not too hard. There's a little bit of time involved, but once you get it all synced up, it works great. So this is a tutorial to show how to do it. And right now you're listening to a voiceover because I did not realize here in this part of the video that I have the microphone on top of my head and you can't hear a word I'm saying. So you hear me go to a real-time voice here just a little bit, but if you're getting a little confused why my lips aren't matching my words, that's why. So for this tutorial, we're going to do Batman and Robin, which is, if you own the DVD, then the RiffTrax is definitely worth it as it makes it pretty much watchable. So you will need the DVD. You'll also need the RiffTrax. So go to rifftrax.com and download the appropriate RiffTrax for your version. So let's take a look here. It's $5, well worth it for this particular movie because it makes it watchable. And you'll see that you'll have access to download several files. There's MP3s or the zipped ones. You'll want to get the zipped ones. NTSC or PAL, depending on what version of the DVD, but because the zip contains a second file that we're going to need to help us synchronize the audio to the video. And I also like to grab the movie poster over here and the RiffTrax logo. They just give the final product a more professional touch, but you'll see what that looks like when we're done here. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to get the movie into a digital format we can use, and we use a program called MakeMKV to do that. We're going to do, this is called ripping your DVD, and what it does is as we launch the program, you see that I already have the DVD is in the drive, so I click here on the picture and it does a quick scan and it's looking for movie titles that are on the disc. That could be the movie itself, could be a behind the scenes video. It really depends on what's on the disc. Although this Batman and Robin disc only really includes the movie, so it should be really easy to find once it's finished. So we're going to sit here and watch as it does a scan. We're waiting for it, and there it goes. And as you can see, as it finishes up here, that you have one movie file, and it is about 2 hours in length, which would correspond to a movie. If we expand it, you can see that there are different audio tracks and subtitle tracks. The only thing we need is the main English audio track, and we can turn everything else off. So we deselect everything else. We want to copy the path where we're going to stick it. I said we're going to copy the path where we're going to stick it. There it goes. And we put that in there, and then we click this button, and away it goes. And we will come back as this processes. Hey, it's only 4.5 minutes later, and it's already almost done, and there it goes, all done. All right, so we can close that, and we don't need to make MKV anymore. We have our title. All right, things are going good so far. So we also need we can close this. We need the RiffTrax downloaded from the RiffTrax site. Here it is, and we're going to extract everything. Now if we take a peek inside, thought it was going to open that up. It did not. Here we go. We can see that there are 2 files in here. Maybe a sync file in there too. I don't know if they've added that or not, but in any case, the ones that are important are this MP3 file and this text file that comes along with it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this MP3 file and we're going to open it in an audio editor called Audacity, which is a free to download app. And we are going to drag it in here. And we're going to do some quick editing here with this file. What we're going to do, so if you're familiar with RiffTrax files, the audio starts with a RiffTrax intro, some music, and then the riffers will set up the movie, talk about the movie they're about to do, and then they bring in DisembAudio to explain how the movie stays in sync with your DVD. We're not going to need that introduction or that instruction. I like keeping the introduction. If you don't like it, you can delete it. I personally like it. I think it adds something to the file. So I'm going to use Control and my mouse wheel to kind of zoom in here and scroll back to the beginning. There's you can see the RiffTrax theme, bringing it in, and they'll be talking about the movie. And you can sometimes eyeball it because they almost always say 1, 2, 3, pause. And you can see there's like 3. That might be it. Let's take a listen.
1, 2, 3, pause.
Yep. So in this section, we have DisembAudio telling us how he's going to sync it, and he's going to say a line at the same time the actors say a line, and that's how you know when you're in sync. But what I'm going to do, so this is where it goes out, and let's see if when he comes back, does he say anything?
And we're in. And warning, this movie may reach temperatures of absolute suck.
Yes, it does, quite a bit. All right, so that's where we want the audio to come back in, and we want to cut out a section before this. So I'm going to click right there and hit Control-I, which is split. And if you right-click, you see split clip. Control-I, because that's my exit point. That's what I want to clip out. And then find here, where does it start?
DisembAudio, take us in, will you, pal?
I think I just found it. That was surprisingly quick. I did not expect to find it that quickly. So let's do a split there. This, we don't need to split. We can join those back together. I hit Control-J to join them. That's not important right now. But the other thing we want, though, is we want to know where this is supposed to come in. So let's take a listen to DisembAudio here for a few seconds.
Now, in a moment, I'll ask you to pause this fan-written
Right.
tracks, start your Batman and Robin DVD,
Yep.
and the first thing you'll see is the Warner Brothers logo. The second that morphs into the Batman logo, press play again on this track.
Okay, so you'll see the Warner Brothers logo. It'll morph to the Batman logo. That's where it needs to resume, which means this part right here needs to line up more or less with the video when it turns into the Batman logo. And that'll give us a good starting point to get everything synced together. Well, we'll do that, and I'll show you how that works. We're going to delete this section because we don't need the instructions. All right, well, you're going to delete this. We're going to pull this back together, and then we're going to actually, one last thing. We're going to go all the way here to the end. If you notice, a lot of dead air here at the beginning. We don't need that. Let's delete that. All right, so now we've got our riff audio. We're going to File, Export Audio, and let's put it in this same directory. So right there. And, oh, no, I don't want it in the zip file. I want it right there in the root. And we're going to save it as a WAV file, uncompressed. It's going to be a little bit easier to work with. It's also, we're going to edit this later underneath the video editing program. So we want it to be as seamless as possible. So we're doing the uncompressed thing. Don't need to save the project. So let's go up a directory. All right, so we've got our movie. We've got our riff audio. We also want the Planet RiffTrax Planet logo. here, and we're going to take the Batman and Robin web poster. If we open that up, we just pulled this right off the website here. That and that. We're gonna play with those. We're gonna add those to the video to make it just give it a little bit more of a professional touch. All right. So now that we have all that, let's fire up DaVinci Resolve, which there is a paid version of DaVinci Resolve. Don't need it. If you're doing like a lot of video editing, it's a really good program from what I understand. But we're going to, and you can see I've done this before, but we're going to create a new project. Batman tutorial. All right. Now, the first thing I do is take the movie file and pull it in. The reason I do that is because occasionally, or sometimes when you do this, it'll pop up a dialog message and saying, do you want the entire project to match the parameters of this file? And yes, that's what I want. I want the movie to be central to it. Sometimes if you pull a different file in first, it'll try to adjust the project to be that. And I don't want it to be the size of the planet logo or the poster. I want it to be the size of the movie. So let's pull that in. Let's pull that in. And you see that the poster didn't work. When you right click on the picture and save it, it'll save it as this WebP file, which I don't know if anybody likes those, but I can click and say save as. I'll save it as a JPEG and save it to, see the name of my media server keeps popping up there. But I'm going to save it here as a JPEG. And this is just using the built-in Photos app at Windows. Doesn't take much. All right, and then I also need the riff audio. So boom, there we go. We've got our 4 pieces that we need here. I'm going to click down here to timeline view and drag the movie down here. Why did it just do the audio? Try that again. Drag the movie down here. Where's the video? Well, that's great for audio. What happened? Open with VLC. Yeah, there's video in there. All right, we got a problem here. I'm going to have to see what I can do about this. All right, so we have this little problem here. This does not seem to want to pull in the video. So what we're going to do, this is good. This says, oh, no, see, I don't want just the audio. What in the world? Let's delete the timeline. Yeah, that's not working out for me here. Let's try pulling it in one more time and see what happens. Nope, it keeps pulling in just the audio. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use a different program here. We're going to open up HandBrake, and this is also a free app. And let's pull this in. And look, there is definitely a video in there. So let's go ahead and just save it as MP4. Dimensions, it's got everything's optimal size. The source is 720 by 480. So let's go ahead and do fast 480. Just to keep everything pretty similar. For dimensions, filters, I'm going to turn off filters just to make things faster. Frame rates, we're going to do same as source. The nice thing about HandBrake is it will use your hardware encoder. So I'm going to use H.264 NVIDIA encoding. We're going to leave it as constant quality of 20. Audio, we just have the one audio channel, which is fine. It says 384. Can we do 384? Yes, we can. And we're going to let it mix down to stereo just because we don't need anything fancy. There are no subtitles in here. And I have not had any success with the chapter markers coming out of DaVinci, so we're just going to turn those off for the heck of it. And now we are going to put that into the same directory, and we're going to do it as an MP4 and see if DaVinci likes that. Start encoding. And that's going to take a little bit longer. So we will come back after that is done. But this is good, because if this is a problem you actually run into, now you know how to solve it. All right, we're just about done with this re-encoding. Hopefully this makes DaVinci Resolve happy. I'm not sure why it wouldn't pick up the video, but... And done. All right, so now we have an MP4 file. Let's give this a shot. Let's go. New project. Batman tutorial. I deleted the last one because it wasn't working right, so we'll do that. And then we'll go, no clips in the pool. We'll do this. Here it is. Here's the MP4 file. And let's see if it likes that. Ah, there's the video. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, now you know how to solve for that. We got the video. We got the riff audio. Pull that in. Let's get the planet logo. Let's get the web poster in here. All right. Now we're ready to go. All this down here. Now, if we remember what DisembAudio said, we want to have the audio. I'm going to mute this for a minute. We're going to want the riff to start where the logo changes to the Batman logo right there. So we're going to zoom that in, and we're going to do a cut there. All right, now we also need... Go back to the selection tool, pull the riff audio in, and we need to find that 1, 2, 3 pause. And we're listening to the RiffTrax audio now. I can shrink this down. Yeah, whatever. All right. See where we are at normal speed here. Okay, we're not there yet. Remember, the first thing that Mike said was temperatures of absolute suck. Yeah, we're getting close.
No, but nevertheless, thanks, Chris and James, and of course to all of you who contributed.
It's coming up.
And please know, in time you will heal.
And we're in.
Yep, right there, and we're in. Okay, so that's about where we need to, we'll do a quick cut there just to give us a marker. And we want to move our video to be about there. So this is going to be pretty close, but it might not be exact. So how do we find out where to line up exact? Well, the way you normally do that with a RiffTrax is you listen to DisembAudio, who should say something at the exact same time as the movie. And that's in here in this README file. I'm going to scroll down. Here's the DisembAudio sync lines. Now, just like we removed all the DisembAudio instructions, we're not going to need to hear DisembAudio say, "Chicks dig the car," and "Mr. Freeze," and "Grab the gem." We're not going to need DisembAudio to say all that because the audio will be perfectly synced. But we need to get it to that point. So let's find this "Chicks dig the car" line, and we'll see how close DisembAudio's version comes to that. So this is where it helps to know the movie you're doing, because I know what's happening there. And if we look, so right now, the RiffTrax audio is lined up at the start. So if we go to 428, we should find the line, except that we already deleted DisembAudio's instructions. So it's going to be before 428. I'm not sure exactly how much. Let's find out together. So let's scroll through here, and we're looking for the car to come up, and they kind of stare at it in awe, And right there. Oop. Okay, that's where he turns and says, "Chicks dig the car."
Dig the car.
Okay. And you can see that his voice did not quite line up. In fact, let's unmute the actual movie and back up. Here are things in backwards. Hopefully they're not saying anything satanic. Okay, here we go.
Chicks dig the car. Chicks dig the car.
All right. So there was a couple seconds, or maybe a second. So what we need to do is we need to move. The riff came too early, so we need to move the riff forward just a little bit. Let's see how we did. Back up. And play.
Chicks dig the car.
Gave you a bus pass, isn't that good enough?
Wow.
Chicks dig the car.
Yeah, that was awful. All right, we did a really bad job. Let's zoom in and move this back a little bit. Oh, I heard him. Back a little bit again.
Chicks dig the car.
Gave you a bus pass, isn't that good enough?
Nope, still too early. Back up. Forward.
Chicks dig the car.
Gave you a bus pass, isn't that good?
And we are not doing well here. Let's way back.
Chicks dig the car.
Man, all right, more. More. Am I actually moving this thing? It doesn't seem like I'm moving it at all. Pull it back more.
Chicks dig the car.
Oh, I think I'm getting closer. And we kind of go back and forth.
Chicks dig the car.
Getting closer.
Chicks dig the car.
Okay, we are getting closer now. Here we go. How about now?
Chicks dig the car.
That's it. Yeah. So now if we play it one more time.
Chicks dig the car.
Oh, that sounded perfect. All right. Let's zoom out. Actually, let's see where we are. We are at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. DaVinci Resolve always starts with a 1 hour timestamp. I don't know why, but so we're going to put this in 3 minutes and 45 seconds on our master timeline. And if we do some quick math, that's about 45 seconds early. So that's probably about as much audio that we deleted from the RiffTrax. All right. So now I want to move this. Whoops. Kind of shifted it with it. I want to just move it, bump it up there, and bump this up to here, and bump this up to here. So now everything's all nice and synced. Let's go back to 345 and make sure we didn't bump anything out of place.
Chicks dig the car.
Actually, it was about 344. So let's, or 43. I don't know. Doesn't matter. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go through all of these, but we'll just do a quick spot check. It should stay in sync for the rest of the movie, but let's go to, so 546. If we need to go back about 45 seconds, that should be about the 5-minute mark. Let's go listen at the 5-minute mark, which is somewhere in here. Yep. Going to say Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
That sounded perfect. How about this? 8 minus 45 seconds would be about 7:15. So let's go there. 7:15. We'll go 7:14. Wow. And one more. Actually, if I remember right, this timestamp might not be correct. Let's go to 2650, which should be about 26:05-ish. Okay. 26 minutes Right in here somewhere. Yeah, right about there.
You look great.
Yep, you look great. Sounds great too. And we'll just do one last one. We're going to look at the very end one just to make sure it's staying in sync. And you could meticulously go through every single one of these and check, but it's probably going to be pretty consistent. So 153.55. So I want to go to 253.05-ish. Okay, 253, getting there. 40, 50, 1, 52, 53. Oh, 05. What was the line I'm looking for? Oh, it's not, hey, I said you got a visitor. Sometimes this file is not entirely correct because this line is actually this line way back up here. But what was it? Let's take a listen. Hopefully it should be right around here.
Most of Gotham's still frozen.
Most of Gotham's still frozen, and he said it pretty much the same time. So yeah, I think we've got it all lined up. So that's great. That's exactly what we need. Now that we have these all in sync, what we're going to do is we're going to save the project and close this. We have all the lines synced up. We don't need DisembAudio to say it now. So what we're going to do is go back to Audacity. And pull the, no, not in the zip file. Here's our wave file that we created. We're going to pull that back in, and that's going to load it up. And we're going to go to, again, we're about 45 seconds off, so we want to look at this timestamp. We're going to go about 3:43. Let's zoom in. I'm going to hold my control key down and use the mouse wheel to, oops, don't use the mouse wheel there because it makes the whole project, it's weird. 3:43, so right about here-ish, and let's take a listen.
Gave you a bus pass, isn't that?
There's that bus pass line again.
Chicks dig the car.
Okay, there's Chicks Dig the Car. So let's zoom in. Should have paid attention. Was it here?
Chicks dig the car.
Yes. So I am going to hit Control L to silence that section. I don't want to delete it because I don't want to shift everything back. I just want to silence it in place. And let's go to, that was the 5-minute mark-ish. Mr. Freeze, probably this.
Mr. Freeze.
Yep. You do this a while, you start to get the feeling for what the waveform is supposed to look like. So if I go to 7:15, oops, right there. That's probably grab the gem.
Grab the gem.
Yep. Silence that, Control L. And I'm not going to do all of these because that's going to be boring. And I also, one of these is a little wrong. This should be 10 minutes. No, that one might be right. Let's go to 17:14 or 17, that'd be 16:30. Maybe it's a different file I'm thinking of. See if this is it.
I renounce Satan.
Did we get him?
Did we get them? Yeah, it is there. Okay. So let's go ahead and silence that one. And you would do this for all of DisembAudio's lines, which are all listed here, and just silence them. But then we do export back to, just leave the settings as it is, as wave, save it right on top of where it was before. And just like magic, go back to DaVinci, close HandBrake. Load up the same project we saved before. And now if I go to out, pull it way back, zoom in again. Now if I go to the Chicks Dig the Car line, we'll find, because the source file changed,
I want a car. Gave you a bus pass. Isn't that good enough?
Chicks dig the car.
DisembAudio is gone. So, but the rest of the file is still perfectly in sync. Perfect. That's basically all you need at this point. Now, the rest of this is just making it look good. So, one thing I notice really quickly is there's a big blank blob here. And if I hit play, I'm getting the RiffTrax music and all that talking is going to appear over nothing. That's boring. Let's make it a little bit more exciting. So let's zoom in on this section. And we're going to pull in the planet logo, and we're going to put that on its own video track, and we're going to start it at 0 here. And the movie poster, we're going to put that over here, and I'm going to put that all the way up against the movie video here. And I'm going to increase the display time between the two. So now, if I hit play, and I'm going to lower the volume a lot here because we don't need to hear all of this. But now we've got the audio, and I can turn it up a little bit. There we go. We got the audio. We got the RiffTrax announcers going to come in a second. Now it looks a little more interesting, but still, static picture for 35 seconds? We can do better. Yes. All right, so here's something I like to do. Let's start with, we're going to zoom in. We're going to do a slow zoom. So let's start. I'll set a zoom checkpoint here. And maybe 10 seconds. No, we stop too early, then it's going to be sitting there doing nothing for long. Let's go 15 seconds. Okay. And we'll click that, and we're going to stay fully zoomed. And then right about, say, here, set another point, and then boop, all the way at the end, we'll set one final point. Here's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to do 0. And then the next point, I want it 100, or 100%. And then that point is also 100%. But then at the end, I'm going to do like 2.5 times size, because it's going to zoom in as it disappears. And if we play that back, get a quick look at that. We don't need the audio. Let's lower that a little bit. Yeah, very, very quiet in the back. So we get the zoom, nice zoom effect here, up to about 15 seconds. Keep going. And yeah, then it just stops. All right, now we're going to give it a little more of a professional touch. We're going to click this little curve. And we're going to, there. Shrink that, make that, okay, now we can see what we're doing. All right, so we want this to zoom and just kind of slow down when it gets to the top. So we click that button. It's going to come in fast. You can even make it come in a little faster. No, that's slower. No, all right, just normal. All right, normal, and that comes in fast, and it's going to stay that way, but then it's going to go out slow and ramp up speed. All right, so now if we play this, let's take a look and see how that looks. So you got the nice, fast zoom in there, like that, and it's getting to normal size, and it's slowing down. That looks good. And it just kind of tapers off the speed. Yep. And it sits there for a little bit. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and skip forward. And then it's going to zoom out. And away it goes, and boom. All right, we can do better than that too. There's a lot of transitions we can do, and we could do a dissolve, we could do a blur, a crossfade dissolve, dip out to a color. We don't want a smooth cut. There's lots of things. We could do the square iris effect. We could do a triangle. There's, lots of things are listed here. Take your pick. Have fun with it. I'm just going to do a quick blur dissolve. I'm going to drag that on here and put that there. And if I do this and then play it back, and we can see it blur out and blur in. And then we get over here. You can see that it takes a couple seconds for that to come in. So we could do kind of the same thing over here. Let's extend this out here. And maybe, I don't think I want to blur dissolve. I want to like a fade out. Dip to color? Maybe? I don't know. We'll do a dip to color, see what that looks like. What the heck? And that looked really weird. Let's undo that. But anyway, we don't have to get too fancy with this right now. I mean, we can do something fun with this. Ooh, a warp. That's still going. Let's bring this back a little bit. Okay, it's doing it does a warp out to black. That's fine. We'll go with that. All right. So now we've got our intro. We could collapse this a little bit. And how do we make the ending a little more professional? So the audio, the RiffTrax audio cuts off here. If you want to keep all the credits, your call there. Personally, I think it's a RiffTrax. Once the RiffTrax audio is done, there's no point in doing the rest of this. So let's select these, hit backspace to delete them. And then we can do I don't know what that does. Let's do well, this could be interesting. Let's go with that. I don't know what that'll do. Let's do that. And then on the audio, we can do an audio. It's crossfade 0, but since there's no more audio, it'll just fade out. And give the ending just a little bit more of a professional look. That's kind of funky. All right. So there we go. Now, that's pretty good. One other thing that we kind of want to do is, if we scroll through here, there's a good scene towards the beginning that demonstrates something we need to do here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There's the diamond heist, and he gets on board the rocket. I want to find that scene. I'm not zoomed out as... Oh, I found it right there. All right, let's zoom in. If I play this, let's turn up the volume a little bit so you can hear what's going on. No, that's not it. Here we go. Okay. Did you hear that? At all? There was a riff in there. Bill was saying a joke. Couldn't hear it over the movie. So how do we get that a little more audible? So one of the things we can do is we can click here on the header of the Batman and Robin riff, and let's turn on Dialogue Leveler. And we want to have more lift for low levels, because sometimes they talk a little bit low. And we want to get that. We don't want to reduce loud. We just want to lift the soft. And that track has no background on it, so we can turn that off. So we can bring up the gain on that so that the riffers are much more audible. And I also found that this should come up to maybe like about 2. It's going to depend a lot on the movie as a whole and the particular riff file. Sometimes some of the riff files are a little bit quieter than others. So this should help balance that out. All right, so now let's back it up and let's listen to that again and see if if it's any better.
When your escape route from a jewelry heist is a rocket, you're kind of overdoing things.
All right, I kind of heard it. But another thing that helps a lot is to to have the movie audio duck down when the riff audio is up. So if they're telling a joke, the movie gets a little quieter, you can hear the joke. When they stop talking, the movie comes back up and it's more of a normal volume. That is really easy to do. What we do is we're going to click on this header. So we're on audio 1 and click on that. And we're going to click on Ducker. And we want the source to be audio 2. And I found for this particular movie, a duck level of 10 works pretty well. So I think we're back before the joke. So let's take a listen and see how that plays out.
When your escape route from a jewelry heist is a rocket, you're kind of overdoing things a tad.
You see that? So now you can hear the jokes. The movie audio gets out of the way without having to crank the volume and try to hear one over the other and just make one louder. It's much more pleasant than trying to boost like the joke audio way beyond where it needs to be. So now we've got something pretty good for a final product. Let's go ahead and go to export. Actually, while we're here, we're going to do a quick save. And we're going to do an H.264. You do H.265 too. It doesn't really matter which one you pick because you can click the codec. So you can even do custom. And let's see, location. We're going to put it right here. And let me select this, please. Thank you. Copy. Location paste. And Batman RiffTrax. We want a single clip video. My media server seems to like the MKV files, so that's why I use that. 265 gives a little bit better compression, I've noticed. So we'll pick that. Encoder auto. If you have the paid version, you probably see some extra settings in here for using hardware encoding. I do not, but you'll see that it doesn't matter too much. It just takes a longer time. Resolution, we're going to keep it we're not going to do timeline resolution. For some reason, DaVinci likes to make a nice big canvas, and source video is only a 480p. So I'm going to put it back to 480p. If you want to upscale it, knock yourself out. I don't see the benefit in it because I like having more storage space for more videos. The source is only that. Whatever media player I'm using can do the upscaling just fine. But whatever you want to do. Frame rate, we're going to keep it at the timeline's frame rate, which should be the same as the source video file. Chapters from markers. I've never had this work, so I just leave that off. Quality, we're going to do just medium quality here. You could choose whatever the heck you want. Don't have to listen to me, of course. Preset, we're going to do, I'll just keep it at balanced. Nothing in advanced settings. I don't know anything to do there. And I haven't figured out subtitles, so I just leave that off. So that should be all we need to do. Let's hit add to render queue. Let's hit render. And that's going to go ahead and get started. We see that the video is processing. We get a nice little preview of what's going on as it's working. And we will come back in classic Windows calculation of time there. It's going up, it's down, it's up, it's down. 15, 20 minutes. It really depends on your encoding settings, your CPU. If you've got the paid version with hardware encoding, it'll go much faster, of course. But we'll be back in 7-ish minutes, maybe more, maybe less, and see what we got when we're done. Okay, here we are at the end of the encoding. Oh, done. All right. Completed in only 6.5 minutes. That wasn't bad. So I would recommend saving the project and closing it. Now we're going to take our, where's the Where's the file? Batman RiffTrax.mkv. And we open this with your media player of choice. I like VLC. It's also free. And there we go. Let's turn the volume down a little bit. You can see that. Oh, I'm going to turn the volume down here as well. No, it's just really quiet in the background. We don't need it while I'm talking. Just to make sure that everything sounds fine. Take it to your home theater, put it on your media server, whatever it is you're going to actually watch it on regularly, and watch it. Make sure it sounds good. That you can hear the jokes, that you don't have audio from one blasting out the other. And I watched this and I could tell that I hadn't boosted the riff. I hadn't boosted the riff volume enough so that there were still points where I couldn't hear the jokes over the movie. And that's easy enough to fix. We'll let this play out, just to make sure the ending looks good. Zoop! There it goes. But, if you decide you need to come back into it and make adjustments, so let's pull up DaVinci Resolve again and just open that same project. As long as you haven't deleted any of the source files, it should work just fine. You just come in, open this guy up, and you can come back over here to timeline. And I think I found I needed to come over here and turn this volume up a little bit, or maybe you need to come in here and increase the duck level, make that a little bit more pronounced, and then render it again and play it again and see how it sounds. Every movie's going to be different. My settings here for Batman, let me click. Oh, I was clicking the wrong thing. Actually, let me show you. Open recent project, Batman and Robin. I've moved the media so it's not present here, but settings are still visible. But if you notice here, duck level is 10, and I think I said it. Yeah, the volume on this one is 4, not 6. That's what I figured I needed there. Independence Day I also did recently, and that's also deleted since. But duck level was also 10 on that. But in this one, I was fine with volume level of 2. So it really depends. Just scrub through it as you're putting it together, listen to it, process it, take it to your home theater, listen to it there, and just play around with it. But it's really easy and everything is free. I'll have links for everything I use down in the description. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, I hope this is helpful and I hope you enjoy it and buy more RiffTrax.